student. It's really cool and extremely awesome that I get to speak to people with it's just amazing. Thank you so much. All right. And to get started, our Friends with Citizens Advisory Committee, or CAC, was a group made up of multiple people across the community. This group was comprised of business members, of teachers, of students, much of the likes you've seen in the audience today. This committee was charged with and by the FISD board to create and fulfill Goal 5 of the FISD strategic plan, stating that we will properly allocate funds for not only our facilities, but to improve learning experiences and promote real-world experiences. The committee, as I said earlier, was charged by you guys. We were created to specifically look at, review, and develop what the community was experiencing and to come up with a proper bond recommendation to present to you guys. This bond was recommended to be under $125 million, and our committee of 44 people came up with a conclusion for you. Our committee membership was made up of 44 people. Committee members were made up of students, teachers, business people, as you've seen in the audience, and students like myself. Our committee met from September all the way up until last week when we were working on our presentation. It was a huge conglomeration of hours and work that everyone put into this project. By the 44 members and the amount of meeting hours that we put in, it was calculated that it was about 680 hours of work that went into this project. And that does not include any researching or anything that anyone in the committee did on their own time. During the meetings, committee members such as myself would look over information given to us and also share our personal experiences to properly evaluate what was going on in FISD and to come up with the best recommendation. Having this wide variety of people and wide variety of people participating in our committee not only gave us what we believe to be the best recommendation for you guys, but it allowed us to review not only the facilities from a teacher, student, and outside member point of view, but from all of these angles, and to come up with the best conglomeration of all of these ideas.
One of the things that we took a lot of time discussing and learning about as a committee was the demographic projections for the FISD. We learned as a committee that we're under a moderate growth cycle right now in the FISD, and we've been on that path for some time. It also was very clear that within the next 2 years, we're going to be at capacity at a lot of our campus, specifically the elementary and the intermediate campuses. That was something that we as a group all felt very strongly about and needing to address in tonight's proposal. One of the things that I want to point out personally about the demographics that I believe that stood out was, having been a resident now for about almost 5.5 years, some of the, what I'll call inequalities between the north and south zones, if you will, as demonstrated very clearly here with the blue and green sections of the FISD. That was something that we discussed a lot about, simple things, but that are really important that maybe the community doesn't see, like transportation and some of the stresses that put on, and potential growth and where that growth will come from. So this is something that we spent a lot of time on. We discussed robustly, and was a big part of our decision-making process.
I guess touching on something, Brandon, we want to kind of elaborate on some of the things when we saw the numbers up there. I think it was kind of foreshadowing when we saw it, and that there was definitely an issue with Klein with the numbers, and that was the first thing that stuck out to us before we even took any tours or really did anything. We went over this, and it was kind of one of those things that numbers don't lie, and it opened our eyes before we got started on stuff.
Hi, Natalie. So I'm going to speak a little bit about the tour opportunity that we had, which for me was the most compelling part of anything we had done up to this point. We got to tour just about every single facility that's being proposed in the bond, and I'm a transplant. I moved here. I heard how great the schools were, and it just goes to show the people are awesome, because some of our schools are not. Especially after touring Klein, the people are, it was just awesome to see, what has been done with what is available up to this point, kind of like when you need to go to the grocery store and you don't have very much shampoo left, so you pour a little bit of water in there and hope it's going to last you. That's kind of what Friendswood's done. They've done a great job of it. But it's time for a new bottle of shampoo. I know Mr. Ward loves analogies, so there you go, that one's free. So this was, I think, for a lot of us, the most compelling part up to this point. And for me, this was the turning point where, okay, you know, really the dollar amount, it's going to be kind of secondary. The need is there. And so that was a really, really neat opportunity, and that really just cast a more real light on what we're talking about here. Does anybody have anything to say on that? Hello, everyone. So I also myself did not start attending Friendswood ISD schools until about 4th grade, but I got to experience firsthand what it's like in these facilities. Personally, I am in the Bales and Winsong, in Winsong, Westwood, sorry, my bad. Bales and Westwood side of Friendswood, and although I didn't experience it at that time, I've been able to hear about from the community members and those living close to me with younger children about how it's getting more and more cramped, and about how it's harder to get seats on the bus. Personally, I thought I was spoiled whenever I got a seat to myself in 5th grade when I was riding the bus. But now I know that's not exactly a reality anymore because of the amount of students that have to ride these buses and attend these facilities. Also, as seen in the very awkward photo in the center of the slide, we got to tour facilities that even as a high school student, I did not get to see myself. I am personally not involved in any of the ag programs at Friendswood High School, but we got to tour these facilities and get to experience what we were discussing firsthand. And it was very important not only to me but to the other community members to see exactly what was going on. And not only as a student, but as the committee that we were made up of.
The tours, I wish everybody could go on a tour. I know you guys have.
Yeah.
But I think if our community saw it, it would really open a lot of eyes. And I wrote down, I want to go off some of these notes because I don't want to forget anything, but the tour, I blindly, as a resident here and my kids going here, I blindly assumed, because we were excelled in academics, athletics, theater, that we had the best facilities in the world. I didn't know, you know, and my kids went Westwood Bells, and then the junior high, and Zoe's in high school, and Vaughn's at Westwood, but it became real clear as soon as we started with Klein that they aren't all the same. And Klein, to me, going through it, I was kind of shocked by the dark and narrow hallways, sometimes claustrophobic with the amount of people we had. It rang into issues of safety. Scary if they had to exit the building or a storm or something like that happened. It was real eye-opening to the whole group. I think everybody can attest to that. Those that have never been to Klein, how much of a shock it was to see that. Westwood's more open, airy light coming in, so it was a shock. The high school, the athletic areas seem to be worse than the ones I had at Creek in the 80s. And that was shocking because I thought that was bad back in the 80s. But just going through the facilities, the dressing rooms, what they stack on top of one another, what they have to share, what they do, and they make do with what they have. And you know, going back to what I said, coming into it, I had this assumption, but I realized that it's not the facilities, it's the faculty, the community that makes Friendswood great. But we're at the point of just so many band-aids that it's become tough. And the athletics, the storage, the offices, just certain things I want to highlight that just wrung out the whole group of us, even the gymnasium, even the height of the gymnasium, not restricting us from certain competitions. Theater, amazing program, and it's falling apart, literally. I don't have kids in the theater thing, but I do enjoy the theater here at Friendswood, and just so impressed with their accomplishments in the theater. And I apologize, I can't remember the name of the person that walked us through it, but they basically were explaining how, you know, they compete on the highest level. You all know this. And they're dealing with a smaller stage than what everybody else deals with. So their placement when they go to these stages is off. They're dealing with no fly bar, which I didn't know what that was until this meeting. And so things like that add up and make it to where we can compete. Friendswood has to compete. We have to compete at the highest level. We can't be where we're at right now, and we're not going to be able to stay at that highest level with what we have. The CTE, Friendswood offers some amazing programs for the kids. They all want to take, a lot of them want to take advantage of it. The problem is we can't accommodate the numbers, and that's what we got out of some of the professionals that came and spoke to us, that it's bad when a kid wants to get involved maybe in culinary, and they can't get into the class. And that one kid might be the kid that might not be going to continuing education and might be going into the service industry, hotel restaurant management, something like that, to be able to get their place in the door. So that, along with development of students, I think it's the thing for the right now and in the future. I think we're going to see that those classes are going to be leading the way, and where students are going to be doing, either they're going to continue on in college pursuing that, at least it gave them a taste of what they were going to do. And they might got that taste and go, I want to go a different direction. But I think it's better than this traditional just hit your course classes. So really on tours, that's it. Brandon,
yeah. I'm going to kind of go from a different lens. I'm from a small town, not a lot different than Friendswood. And there's a saying that you shouldn't worry about things that, on the other side from your fence. But I'm going to give you a perspective from the other side of the fence. I spent 13 years as a secondary educator and coach in the Pearland ISD. So I was on Pearland West for a year. I was at PHS for 8, and I was at Dawson High School for 5. So how that relates to my experience, the tours, and I'll speak specifically to Friendswood High School because that's what I'm most familiar with in my first career that I was blessed to have, was the fact that we're not playing on a level playing field. I've competed against Friendswood, all right, but I came here because I believe wholeheartedly of the mission and the vision of the administration here. My family moved here. My brother, my mom, this is where we came for a reason. It was because of the schools. That being said, I was always under the impression that the best of the best was here. Now, to give you a little bit of background to that, so when I was at Pearland, I saw our first bond that brought the new stadium and a renovation to PHS and the 9th grade center. All right, and then from the 9th grade center, they turned that into the Career and Technology, Turner High School. So I saw that as a 21st century cutting edge learning facility with the ag facility and everything that went over there. But then I was there for the big bond when Dawson opened up in Barry Miller. And so I know what it looks to have a 21st century culinary arts program in Kitchen, a state-of-the-art band facility, a large competition stage with all the bells and whistles, sound systems, and you name it. I remember distinctly competing against Friendswood and losing most of those competitions. Not all, but a lot. And as it relates to what we saw on the tours, the thing that I really pointed out to my committee members is that we're doing a lot with a little. And I think we can do better. In fact, I think one of the things that we talked about as a committee is where could we go if we as a community could get behind what we're doing. We're already asking a lot of our teachers, our coaches, our kids, the families here in Friendswood. There's a lot being given, but I believe that there's more. Where can we take this if we really continue on the district's plan? And it was a lot of little things. I mean, it's not just storage. It wasn't just, 70 kids sharing a locker room that was built for 30. And there, I think, was it basketball or volleyball or both that has like literally one restroom per, you're looking at 40 individuals in there. I mean, there was a lot of things to me that I was experienced as a coach that was different. I also thought it was amazing about how, I think Eric told a story about in the auditorium how they have to order secondhand parts off of the internet to go and fix the seats because the seats are falling apart. They're literally there. You can't find anyone who makes them anymore. I mean, that within itself kind of exemplifies how we're playing from behind. And so we're already getting achievement, but where do we want that? Are we okay with that? Or do we really want to see where this achievement can go if we can bring these schools into the 21st century and really follow strategic plan number 5? And so that's what was impactful for me and why I felt like the tour is something that was not only eye-opening, but something that the community, we deserve.
I'll just finish up by saying, I think one of the beautiful things about this part of the process is that I personally, in my group, have, I can think of at least 3 other individuals whose kids are on the way out. They're towards the end of their career or high school career, and everybody, you know, oh no, this has got to go, this has got to change, we're voting yes, like, everybody had just total consensus, and it just really brought everybody together, regardless of where their kids were, and I think that was a beautiful thing, so.
Agreed.
Project. So when we first sat down and they started going through all the things that are needed in our district, a lot of overwhelming decisions were in front of us, a lot of them. And then to try to get it to the stay on budget. So I think that was what we were tasked to do. And when we first got the things, we'll run through them real fast, like Bell's Intermediate, adding 4 additions to the site work, Friendswood High School CTE, Fine Arts, Gymnasium, renovations, additions, wrestling mat room additions. It kind of goes across the board, and everywhere in our district needed something. And some more than others, but it needed something. So the committees broke up into groups of 6. If you want to go to the next slide. That came to a whopping $203 million, by the way. I didn't want to breeze over that number, but so we had tables, and basically with 6 people at a table, and they broke it up. The amount of information we got, I can't tell you how professionally it was done. I was very impressed, and been in different organizations and different things, and sometimes it just doesn't go too smooth. Everything stayed on task. Everything stayed on schedule. Committee members were extremely devoted to being here and learning. The firm that Friendswood hired to come in and speak to us just really presented the facts. And I guess that's the thing I would want to get out to the community is, if the bond does get presented, is that there's a bunch of factual data professionally given to us, and the committee had to deliberate on it. In that, we had basically a round table. So this is where it gets kind of amazing. We had all the information after weeks of doing it, and we were going to break into round 1 with 6 table deliberations. So you stay with your original table, everybody goes through the nice chart we had, flow chart, and you make your recommendations. Ones that were green lighted by the whole group moved on to the next phase. Ones that were red got knocked out, and so on, going to round 2 and then round 3. Going into that process, I got to tell you, I thought it was going to be days. From past experience, I thought we were going to have some come to blows. Here it goes. Here it goes things. And I say that because, and it's a compliment to some of the committee members, had some really tough questions. It wasn't just show up, sit there, put your input in. People were throwing some tough questions, and the people that sat at the table, I won't name the table, I honestly thought they were going to approve about a $30,000 bond. You know, it's one of those things I was going, this is going to be a tough one. We're going to be going at them. You know, it's going to be a push and pull. And it wasn't out of wanting to be, you know, tight with the money. It was more of, they had great questions that, how does this affect that? And saying we're going to do this will really improve the, you know, it was really direct, good questions. So I was really impressed with that. So thinking that it was going to be days was not the case with this committee. This committee, not only did we all agree on the same dollar amount to the penny, we also picked the exact same items to put on the bond proposal, which was a big surprise to us, and I think speaks volumes, in round 1. So you can imagine sitting at the tables, and we were all at, well, we were at the same table. We were at our table, and it's almost you're getting in a huddle, and you're ready for war, and you're going at it. And we were sitting there, and we're going, what do you think they're going to do? What do you think they're going to do? All that stuff. And so we kind of had to come in and go, okay, here's what we believe. Here's what most impacts the community as a whole. That's the kind of approach we took, and I'll let everybody speak to their table. What affects the community as a whole, and what could better our children's educational experience. And so we sat down and we did that. When the numbers started coming in to the penny, exactly what we put down blew us away. So I think that really does say volumes. To put that many people in a room, present factual information professionally, and have everyone agree on the same thing first round, I think this should send a clear message to the board and to the amazing community that this bond is not only desperately needed to stay competitive and continue to be ranked as one of the best districts in Texas, but obviously what is needed for the bond. It kind of states what all the people in the committee exactly what they thought was needed for the bond. So I'll kind of let y'all throw in your group's thoughts if y'all want to. Your table.
I'm pretty sure we finished first.
It was easy. So I'm involved in speech and debate at Friendswood High School, and our job is literally to argue about things. But not in that organization, but in the band, which I'm also involved in, we have found a way to argue over whether water is wet. I'm not kidding. There's an ongoing argument about whether water is wet or not in the FHS band program. These small decisions still have giant implications for our program. And this is one question about water, of all things. I know that I haven't had as much experience as everyone else on the committee or the people standing behind me with deliberations in this type of activity, but it was just outstanding to me, especially coming from the fact that we argue over water. It's simply outstanding to see that everyone could come together in such a fashion to agree, as stated earlier, to the penny amount on what was needed not only for the FHS campus, but for all of the Friendswood ISD facilities and for all of our community.
Only thing I'll add is I want to tip my hat to all the committee members because there's nothing that people get more emotional about than their kids and money, specifically taxes. And and for the group to come together so rapidly to the exact same conclusion as our table, which was the first table to actually have to present theirs, was amazing, and it's something that I personally am really proud of, and I'm excited to present to the community tonight. But I give those committee members a lot of credit for that. Back up. Okay, so this is going to be our recommendation. So you've heard about our deliberation, how special of a group it was, how much information we took in, the robust conversation, the debate, and so as a group, this is what we unanimously agreed to. We are proposing at Westwood a 4-classroom addition for the anticipated growth that we discussed earlier in the demographic slide. In addition, we are also recommending a brand new Klein replacement school. The committee unanimously voted on a new Klein. We felt like that this would better serve the needs of the district as opposed to renovating the existing school site. Personally, I'd like to say my thoughts after looking at the numbers, hearing from the architect, looking at safety issues, architectural issues, just quite simply the fact that it's being held together in a lot of unique ways that I know you already know about. I simply felt like that there wasn't an amount of money, it wasn't possible to bring Klein as it exists today in its current site up to the safety specifications needed in a 21st century school or to address the needs of learners. And so without a question in my mind, it was literally a no-brain decision to recommend a brand new campus.
Agreed. That one was, the Klein tour specifically was most compelling for me, obviously, because I have a child about to enter into that school. The safety issues, I mean, you don't overcome that by renovating here or renovating there. You know, I can't get over, you know, the location of the playground and how it's across a street. And the kids have to cross this street and hope the milkman's not coming to make a delivery at that time. I mean, this little things like that the teachers and the faculty have been able to overcome and keep our kids safe so far. But, I mean, I think that we're better than that. We deserve better than that. And I agree, when you compare the amounts that it would take to just get it somewhat safe compared to the cost to build a new school, it's a no-brainer, really is.
Just briefly, I'll just say from that tour, like I said in the beginning, it was very obvious, but on a funny note, he was walking with his head down the whole time, going, can't believe this. Look at that over there. Look at this. And he pointed out some great things that were obvious, you know, that you really can't just do with a renovation. So we all felt very strongly about Klein.
Okay, to continue, we are recommending a 4-classroom addition at Bales for the growth as discussed, and a 6-classroom addition to address the growth at Windsong Intermediate. We also are recommending a total package at the renovation at Friendswood High School. This would include the following: a new fine arts addition, renovation of the existing auditorium and fine arts wing, to renovate the existing CTE space, a new competition gym and support spaces to go along with that, locker room renovations, and reconfigure the athletic fields and spaces there. We also recommend the district-wide safety improvements. This would include security fencing, security film, cameras, a visual lockdown system, and updated PAs, which we learned a lot that were out of date. And to include also the district-wide technology improvements. This was a wide-ranging amount of things, but I'll just touch on a few. The fiber and access point upgrades, storage array, and classroom instructional technology upgrades as it related specifically to learning and instruction. We also felt the need that the district is doing a great job keeping our facilities working, but that there was a lot of things that needed to be addressed now. So we are recommending also that a district-wide all priority 1 maintenance, priority 1 maintenance projects and improvements, and to also include future land purchases that would help the renovation at Friendswood High School. This would bring our total bond proposal that we are bringing to you tonight to $128,273,480. I want to make a special note that we understand as a committee that we were charged with the number of $125 million. But I also want to say that this committee came to this decision unanimously on 1 round. And I thought it was really special, and I think we've all pointed out our own unique stories of why that is. But I'll leave you with that. When we started in meeting 1, we looked at the strategic goals of the district, and we started with that number 5, allocating our resources to the best of our ability to authentic learning experiences. And for me personally, and for a lot of members of our Citizens Advisory Committee, we left the room that night excited to come present this to you, because we know that we are touching 100% of the students within the FISD with this proposal. That was extremely important to all of us. And so that's why we bring this proposal to you tonight with the number that it is, because it's what we believe is necessary to address the needs of the district.
Tax impact. So I wrote some numbers down to keep you on track here. But so what is the tax impact of the bond for Friendswood citizens? $128,273,480. So current FISD rate is 21.7 cents. Adding the bond in is an additional 19.41 cents, and that makes our new max tax rate 41.11 cents. The average homeowner will pay $631.13 more a year based on a $346,000 home. That's $1.92 a day, or $57.59 a month. This was one of the ones that we were looking at, while we're doing the numbers, we're like, man, what is this going to do? But once the financial people came in and started explaining everything to us, the number, initial shock is it sounds high, the 128 instead of 125, it sounds high, but with the bond, the total tax rate will be $1.43 in rounding. This represents only a 6.44 cent increase to the taxpayers than what they've been paying the last 8 years. Because of House Bill 3 coming in, taking our taxes down, this is like the perfect time to present a bond to you guys. Not as much pain in the community from a large increase because of House Bill 3 that I think we need to let all our citizens know about, that brought our tax rate down. We're going to be basically only the 6.44 cents delta between what we used to play. Perfect time to introduce it. We asked that the board, if you decide to choose to do 125 million, we ask that you don't take out anything we proposed in the bond. No, it's a big ask. But we'd rather you find the ways to fund them through M&O and fund balance resources. The committee worked really hard on this. And like Brandon said, it wasn't just kind of one of those things where we're kind of like, oh, let's just throw this over here and let's throw this over there. It really was a thought out process. Mr. Ward kept us on track as far as, scheduling, but the committee really was tasked with how do we make this work and how do we make it work for our community? And so that's what we came up with. The why. To me, the why in anything is the most important thing. Why the district needs the bond, and it's pretty obvious. Directly addresses the goal number 5 in the Friendswood ISD strategic plan in year 1. Every Friendswood ISD campus will benefit from the projects included in this recommendation, like Brandon said. Addresses anticipated growth in the district. Growth's going to happen, and we're already kind of behind the 8 ball on that. It's going to come this way, so it addresses that. Address priorities needed and positions Friendswood ISD strategically to position Friendswood ISD strategically for the future. That's a big one. We've enjoyed success in Friendswood up to this point, but to continue the success, we really need to invest in our facilities in our district to keep going. Helps Friendswood ISD meet its goal of allocating resources for facilities that promote authentic learning experiences and real-world opportunities. That's some of the stuff we addressed in the CTE programs and other things addressed earlier in the conversation. But I'd like to just take a second. I wrote down a few things, but I want to tell you what my why is. Because I think as a committee member, you need to hear from as many committee members as you can, because I think everybody has their own unique thing, but I think some of us have some that are right on par with each other. People either come to Friendswood, they either were born here and they stay, which you see a lot, or they move here and stay. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but the one that is the ringing bell for me and for a lot of people is FISD. This school district is special, and it's easy for a parent to say that kids go here, but from people looking on the outside, friends of ours from outside the community, they know it's special. They know that they want their kids here. It's a special district. And is that all because of facilities? No. It's you guys. It's our faculty. It's our teachers. It's our administration. It's our families. Our families in this community play a big role in this district. Whether it's fundraisers or Friday folders, or the list goes on and on and on of what the families do in this community. And one of the great things, everybody kind of reached out to friends in the community and friends outside the community. But one of the great things you hear from people outside the community is, how do y'all do it? It's you take pride when you're a residence community and your kids go to school, because you're able to come back with them with, we have the best teachers. We have, and you mean it. You don't just say it, you mean it. Because the proof is in the pudding. The success rate we have, college entrance, theater, academics, sports. It's facts. It's not just us saying, we're the best, yay. We don't do that. So it's not just another district, it's a close-knit community. We have enjoyed amazing theater, athletic, academic programs that compete at the highest level in the state. All that has contributed to the higher home values and a safer place to live. I have a lot of friends that want to live here that just at this moment in their life they can't live here, but they want to live here for the school because our home values, because of this school, are higher. They can't do that. But they will strive to do that, which is great. To stay competitive for years to come and keep Friendswood the place people want to live and raise their kids, I feel this bond is the key to our future success. So I just want to throw my why in there because it's something we think about a lot as parents. It's something we think a lot about as community members on why we live here. And overwhelming, the school is the reason.